Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. It is summertime in the city of festivals, and with that said, there's a new cultural celebration happening on Milwaukee's lakefront on Saturday, August 4th, the Black Arts Fest MKE. And here to tell us all about it is Patrice Harris, who serves as the executive director. Hi, Patrice.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Busy.
I appreciate you. Oh, I know. Yeah, and I really do appreciate you being here.
No,
this is
thank
the
you.
first annual Black Arts Fest MKE. Tell us about the concept and what we can expect on August 4th.
Well, the concept, a lot of people have been asking about the name and the arts component. And when we talked about a new name, arts encompasses so much. Dance, traditional art, music, food is a culinary art. So we went with that name and we thought it really invited all different aspects into the festival.
That is awesome, and yeah, well thought out as well. So basically this is one of those cultural celebrations that's going to be happening on the Summerfest grounds, and on August 4th, the gates will open at noon, close at midnight, so all day affair. Let's kind of break down some of the things that we have going on. First and foremost, this is made possible by a group of African-American business professionals and community volunteers coming together. So help us understand who's making up this board of directors.
Okay, Greg Wesley, who is an executive at the Medical College of Wisconsin, Derek Tyus, he's with West Bend Mutual Insurance, Corey Nettles, he is a venture capitalist. We have Jackie Hurd-Barber, who is a very well-known active community volunteer and philanthropist. There's Marvin Bynum II, he's with Godfrey and Kahn. We have Kaylin Haywood, Barb Wanzo from Black Arts MKE, Mark Wade, who was the former president of African World Festival, so he provides a lot of insight. Just a tremendous group of people that are, contributing to this and raising funding for this, which was critical.
Yeah, and needless to say, you too are
myself,
on that board. Yeah.
I'm an employee, not a board member.
So you did mention African World Festival, and Milwaukee has gone several years now without African World Festival. So to hear that we now have Black Arts Fest MKE is a breath of fresh air for a lot of people, and people are excited. So let's break down some of the activities and some of the events that surrounding this festival. You've got something for everyone, right?
We really do, and we wanted to take a mix of traditional with the heritage of the African culture, and then also mix it in with what's contemporary culture. And so there's traditional dance, drumming, we'll have workshops incorporated with that, so our guests can really get up and learn about, for example, drumming. Then we have hip hop, and we have on the children's area, which I am really excited about, we're infusing the culture and trying to spark the interest, but not in a way where they get lectured or would be taught in a classroom. So, for example, they can come and make paper plate necklaces resembling Maasai necklaces, or they can make, it's called like a thumb piano that is a replication of an instrument from Africa. We're working with True School and an incredible artist, James Tomasello, where he is outlining different icons of and things people associate with Africa, and the kids are going to be able to do murals on site and fill them in. So, and of course music, and we have a surprise in store that hasn't been announced, actually 2 big ones.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And I think people will be very excited. One is not something you would expect, but it's going to be very cool. Okay,
well, you have piqued my interest, so I guess I'll just have to wait like everybody else. But another thing that's really important is the market square that you have that's going to be highlighting Black businesses. Talk about the importance of that.
Really, I think the community doesn't realize how much talent there is in with different Black-owned businesses, entrepreneurs. So a lot of the focus there. We're not doing a lot of T-shirts and like what people often call tchotchkes. We're doing a lot of things focused around African clothing, artwork, and both, again, contemporary and traditional. But you mentioned the Black businesses. Our goal is to have an extremely high percentage of African and African American vendors participating in the festival, and right now I would say we're at least at 85%,
all right,
including the entertainment.
That's awesome. And as with all of the cultural events that take place on the Summerfest grounds, really it's open to everyone. And it just really gives people who are not a part of the, African heritage or culture a chance to come in and appreciate it, just like with all the other festivals. You get an opportunity to be enlightened and to appreciate what we as a people bring to this melting pot of America, right?
Most definitely. I mean, obviously, primarily our primary target audience is African-American members of the community and bringing something back for them. But this is very inclusive. We want everybody to come, and that's an important message you said with all the ethnic festivals on the grounds, and I think other festivals in the community, is to learn about each other's culture, especially in a time where racial divide is increasing in our country.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So before we run out of time, we got to talk about these national acts that you are bringing to Milwaukee on that day. I'm so excited because this woman first gained fame in the late 80s, becoming the first solo female rapper to release a full album. I'll give a couple of more hints. She started rapping when she was like 14, and right now she's 48, so that tells you she's a legend. First African-American to serve as president of the LA chapter of the Recording Academy, that's the Grammys, and she's considered one of hip-hop's pioneer feminists. Go ahead and tell everybody who that is.
It's MC Lyte,
yes,
and we're actually calling her the Lady of Firsts, because she was the first in so many different things and inspired so many females in that genre. So we think it's great that MC Lyte, the first of everything, is closing out the first Black Arts Fest MKE.
I love it. The LYTE coming to the MKE. I love it.
Exactly.
Okay. So then you have one of the huge R&B groups. Actually, they're part of the New Jack Swing genre. Got their start in the late 80s. Toni.
That is going to be, I think, a flashback where people in the audience are going to be singing along and dancing. Because if you grew up in that era, how do you not know lyrics to almost every song they have?
Every last one.
And there have been a lot of questions about why Raphael Saadiq isn't with the band. And we just want to have people understand he left the band about 15 years ago to pursue a solo career.
And hasn't slowed down since.
No, exactly. But has continued touring,
Yeah. But they did have their cousin who was playing instruments back in the band then. He came in and joined the group. They have the same sound, and they are as awesome as ever. And finally, for those blues lovers out there, you've got the legendary Grammy winner, Bobby Rush, and he's worked with greats like the late Muddy Waters, Etta James, and Howlin' Wolf, just to name a few. And all those old schoolers out there, they'll remember songs like Chicken Heads and I Ain't Studying You. That's as country as it gets, right?
Yeah, and I would think one of the really impressive things, he is 84 years old.
Oh, wow.
In his reviews, people say he might be 84, but on stage he's like 20, and he's doing like the same moves, working the women in the crowd. And he just came off Jazz and Heritage. He headlined their blues stage.
Yeah.
Which, to be a headliner at Jazz and Heritage is tremendous.
Absolutely, and not to mention he is a Blues Hall of Famer. He was inducted in 2006, so that's just the tip of the iceberg. So as we wrap up, if you would just tell us about ticket information and how people can get their hands on those.
I hope people understand that there are adult tickets. They're 30% off. They can purchase them online at blackartsfestmke.com. You can also purchase youth and senior tickets ahead. Military and children 7 and under are free. And we also have an admission promotion. It's Potawatomi Hotel and Casino Community Appreciation Day. So the first 1,500 get in free between noon and 3. And one of the things I want to stress is anyone who buys their ticket online, which you have to do before midnight on August 3rd, gets in free the entire month of August to Discovery World.
Oh my, that's good stuff. Yeah.
I mean, and that, if you haven't been there, it is beyond amazing.
Yes, and also military and veterans with photo ID and proof of service. They're admitted free as well. That's huge. So thank you so much. It's definitely going to be fun. Looking forward to August 4th and seeing you there.
Yes, me too. Thanks for having me.
And get some rest, girl.
Yeah, right.
Patrice Harris is the Executive Director of Black Arts Fest MKE. Again, it's happening Saturday, August 4th from noon to midnight on the Summerfest grounds. For all the details, again, you can go to blackartsfestmke.com. And when we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll talk with 6th District Alderwoman Malele Coggs. She'll fill us in on Bronzeville Week 2018 right after this.